All right, hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Just got to do something real quick.
I was going to do that too.
Let's do it. Let's simultaneous crack it on open.
First of the day.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We got the blue light here to the Air Raid Hour Cover 1 pregame kickoff. Bills Patriots coming up in just a few, in just over an hour and a half here.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, I've been telling people this. First of all, I'm Judge Mathis. You can find me as always on Twitter at Judge Mathis. Joined as always by my co-host Dave Tilton. You can find him on Twitter at Tilt Money. I'll tell you what. We did a pregame show last year for the AFC Championship game. Somehow this feels bigger. When you play a division opponent in the playoffs, it just feels different. Yeah. Am I crazy? Am I nuts?
No. And what's even crazier about it, I guess, if you think about the history of the Bills and the Pats both being in the AFL, haven't ever played each other in the Super Bowl era in the playoffs. Now, these teams have historically in the Super Bowl era been good at opposite ends of the timing spectrum. The Patriots were good, the Bills weren't. When the Bills were good, the Patriots really weren't. So it is really ratcheted up even more due to the fact that this is the first time these two teams are playing each other in the playoffs. And it's in a state where I guess you call it rivalry between the two is healthy and it is competitive, whereas over the last 15, 20 years, it really hasn't been. So that also adds an element to it as well.
Yeah, we got, Jason M came in earlier in the comment section. Let me see if I can pull it up. He says, I'm trying to be more excited than I am nervous, but I don't think it's working. I'll tell you what, if I walk away at any point during the show, it is because I am leaving to go throw up. It's probably why I am leaving. I am leaving to go puke, but I was nervous all week. You know what has given me the most sense of calm over the last 2 days? That Josh Allen Instagram post where it's sort of like a hype video promo where he intermixes The Godfather along with like a hype video. Josh Allen, man, I just feel like everyone's in the comment section like, are we going to get Sugar Rush Josh? Are we going to get Sugar Rush Josh? This is a dude who is repping The Godfather in his pre-playoff hype video and listens to Frank Sinatra pregame. I think we're going to get calm, cool, collected Josh Allen today. And that's what's given me the most sense of calm heading into this football game. But we got your boy Lettuce coming in here with a super chat. Always appreciate you, your boy. And he says, getting to bounce the Patriots feels like it will make up for 20 years of abuse, far more than any number of regular season wins could provide. And yeah, that's different. And that's part of the anxiety of this game too, is what your boy says, what this game could mean with a victory tells you exactly the blow it's going to give if we somehow can't pull it off. And that's what's so nerve-wracking about this game is this game can give us the highest of highs, but it also can knock us down to the lowest of lows if we don't end up getting the results that we want to see in this game. Looking at the weather, 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit with a real feel of 0 to -10 heading into this football game. What are your thoughts just in general? What's your confidence level just in general heading into this football game? And let us know in the comment section what your confidence level is. Lone Wolf coming in here says execute. No issue beating the Pats. What's your comment level, or what's your confidence level, and what's the comment section's confidence level as we get things kicked off here?
Well, I'll say this. My confidence level, I would say, is different than my nerves level, if that makes sense. Like, I'm confident in the team. I think they're the better team. They're at home. I'm confident in Josh Allen. My confidence level is pretty high, give me like somewhere in the realm of a 7 out of 10. My nerves level and fear level is like a 10 out of 10, because and I'm trying to separate the two, right? Because I know the Bills are a good team, and I know I should be confident, and I know I should feel like if the better team wins, the Bills will win. But I also have a fear, and I'm nervous too, like the comment said before. So just confidence in a vacuum, I'm confident, right? I'm like a strong 7 confidence level, but nerves and fear level, I'm like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Chris S coming in says 80 out of 20. We have the better talent. I would agree with that. Brendan P coming in saying his confidence levels at 90%. I really like this comment from Brett Guay here. He says, confident, but we can't settle for 3, go for 7 every time. Papa Gregory says his levels at about 80%. Jason M feels solid. Jason Humbert, most confident of them all, saying we're going to smash them. And Dave R coming in saying, I'm confident. We all feel a little intimidated, but we shouldn't. We are the better team. Let's take care of the ball, be aggressive, and shut them down. We're going to get down to this a little bit later on the show. I don't even think the main story of this game is going to be Josh Allen. I sort of mentioned this on social media today when I posted. Nate Kaiir put out a great post, and we're going to get to that. Actually, let's jump into it. Why not? We'll skip over this one segment. Let's go to Nate Kaiir had this great post on Twitter today, and he said, "What do you think is the 3 most important players outside of Josh Allen?" And he, in his images, he put Dawson Knox, Isaiah McKenzie, and Harrison Phillips as his three of most important players outside of Josh Allen. I went a different direction with my 3 most important players after Josh Allen. I went with Ed Oliver, I went with Tremaine Edmonds, and I went with Matt Milano. And I believe this is a game where the Buffalo Bills defense can sell out on the run. They can stop the run, have success stopping the run. The weather will sort of blank Mac Jones because everyone and their mother wants to talk about Josh Allen's statistics in cold weather games. Well, Mac Jones has really never played in cold weather games, and he doesn't exactly have the arm to throw a frozen football. I think this is a game where the Buffalo Bills could legitimately keep the Patriots under 10 points. What is your thoughts on that take, where this could just be a defensive game where we hold them under 10 points, and it's just about our offense just doing enough to get into the double digits?
Well, I'm not going to spoil my prediction for the end of the show. For those of you who watched my spot on the Playoff Extravaganza show last night, I did give my score prediction. So I am kind of the belief that we can come close to that. And I do think it's really interesting that you picked 3 defensive players were the 3 most important outside of Josh Allen. And to be honest with you, I would tend to agree that it would probably be 3 players on defense. If you want to say Oliver, Edmonds, Milano, if you want to say Oliver, Edmonds, Jordan Poyer, if you want to say Edmonds, Milano, Jordan Poyer, like I'm fine with any combination you want to use on that. And Richard has an interesting one here, Matt Hawk. As being, if we think it's going to be a defensive struggle, then that could be interesting. No, I do think the Bills have the potential to hold this Patriots team to 10 points or less. But I also think that for them to do that, they will need to make sure they don't give up the big play. And even against the Jets, even against the Falcons, and even the last time we played the Pats, we've seen, as good as the defense has been in this stretch of the season, they've given up pretty much like one big play a game, I would say. We know the play to Kyle Pitts in the Falcons game, and obviously the 4th down touchdown in the Jets game. So I would say if the Bills limit that big play, the one big play, they will hold the Pats to 10 or less.
Yeah, we got your boy Lettuce coming in here saying this should be a Micah Hyde marquee game. And we saw this, right? I mentioned the number one thing that our defense has had going for us the last 3 weeks, other than the opponents, is the fact that they had a chip on their shoulder with no one being selected to the Pro Bowl. Now you have Jordan Poyer getting first team All-Pro, but his running mate Micah Hyde getting second team All-Pro. Can Micah Hyde see this as a little bit? This is a defense
that's not a slight. That's not a slight.
Maybe, dude, I feel like Micah Hyde could turn it into one. This is a team that really, like, this defense has like that Baker Mayfield mentality where they're always looking for people who are doubting them. Like you saw Jordan Poyer running off that field after the Patriots game, asking for Jerry Sullivan of all people. Like, this is a defense that looks for a chip to put on. They actively look for chips to put on their shoulders. So
That's true.
I'm gonna put this one out to you, and I'm gonna put this one out to the comment section as well. Just like Nate Geary's post earlier, who do you think are the three most important players outside of Josh Allen in order to win this football game? And people in the comment section, let me know who your three players are as well, and we'll share some of those after Dave is done giving his take here.
Yeah, and I didn't hear, like, I wasn't prompted with this, so I'm gonna go with like my gut here, and just think about like sort of how these games have gone against the Pats the last few times. When the Bills have had success against the Pats in the last 3 out of the 4 games, Stephon Diggs has stepped up and delivered and played like an alpha, and so he's going to be important. So that Josh Allen, we know Josh Allen it's not part of this conversation. The Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs connection with the Patriots a little banged up in the secondary, trying to figure out what they're going to do to cover Diggs, whether it's going to be they're just going to put man coverage on him. That was discussed as an option for the Patriots. Diggs is on the list. I think Tremaine Edmonds is on the list. So I will agree with Nate Geary there. Tremaine Edmonds needs to be a force in stopping the run tonight. He needs to flow and fill the gaps appropriately. He needs to not over pursue, and he needs to make his mark defending the run tonight. Whatever happens in the passing game with Edmonds, I'm not really too bent out of shape about that. Yeah. For me, I'm focused on Edmonds and defending the run. And then finally, All-Pro Poe, man. Like, that guy, he got the All-Pro nod. It's his time to shut that back end down, lead this team in the playoff game. He is the leader back there for this unit. Trey White's not there, we know. But Poyer getting that All-Pro nod. He's been a beast all season. He has gotten himself into that conversation, and he really has been, where he's one of those big-time players that has to make big-time plays in a big-time game. He is that guy now for the defense. Like, all guys on the defense, like Jordan Poyer is the face of that defense now when you're talking about a superstar. So he's got to show up tonight and play big. So for me, it's Diggs, it's Edmonds, and it's Poyer.
Yeah, I like that one. And then Jessica comes in. I like Jessica. She only had one here. But if the defense struggles, your most important player is, the Bass man, Tyler Bass. I like that one. We got a couple other people came in with their three. I just got to scroll down here. Hyde Milano and Ed Oliver says you boy lettuce.
Ed Oliver, I liked your pick there of Ed Oliver too. I think he could play a big role.
Oliver and Phillips are gonna be absolutely huge. I think in this game. I think you're going to see them play close, like between 60 and 70% of the snaps. Like, I think you'll see them on the field a ton. Maybe the weather affects that. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. Lone Wolf comes in, says Singletary, Knox, and Bass. We should be getting our inactive soon. Star, Harrison, and Cole, Motor, Knox, and Bates. I like that one, Ryan Bates. Star, Harry, and Oliver. Singletary, Edmonds, and Oliver. Harrison, Phillips, and Cole Beasley, and Tremaine Edmonds. And that's an important note. If they go more zone, we could talk about that in a little bit too. AJ Klein, if they go in the 43, the Bills sort of tip their hand, right? Their practice squad call-ups were Eli Anku, the big nosy defensive tackle, and Joe Giles Harris, which means that maybe they want more reserve linebackers in case more linebackers have to play in the game. You can get Giles Harris out there on special teams. So the Bills have sort of tipped their hand as to how they are going to defend the New England Patriots. It looks like they are once again going to sell out to defend the running game. It'll be really interesting to see if the Patriots have the balls to come out like 4 receiver set and see if they actually have the stones to do something like that. That would be the ultimate Bill Belichickian move. But you saw in the first game, the Buffalo Bills were gashed right up the middle of the defense. You saw in the second game, they adjusted. The Patriots couldn't do much damage between the tackles, so they took it outside the tackles and they started the pitches and the counters and things like that to have success on outside runs. And the Buffalo Bills did, to a degree, struggle with that. So this game is going to be super interesting. We saw what they had going for them running to the interior. We shut it down. We saw then what they had going to the exterior. Can we now shut that down along with shutting down what they do on the interior? Because if the New England Patriots do find a rhythm in the running game, the Buffalo Bills are going to be in a heck of a lot of trouble. I think the Bills can hold this Patriots team to single digits, but if they get that running game flowing, it's going to be difficult. And then those statistics about Josh Allen and the cold weather, et cetera, then those things do come into play if Mac Jones on the other side does not also have to be held accountable to the same weather because he doesn't toss the football. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of exactly what I broke down last night on the show with as far as the Patriots running game against the Bills run D. And if we want to start talking about that, like the Bills, where they've struggled in run defense is on first down. On DVOA, they're only ranked 20th overall in the NFL on first down run defense. And the Patriots are one of the better first down running teams in the NFL. So if you're the Bills, to me, obviously you got to get off the field on third downs, but first down defense to me becomes a critical down for this Bills team tonight, because if you put the Patriots in second and longs after first down, it really puts them in a tough spot. Do they continue to try to work the run, or do they put the ball in Mac Jones' hand? Do not let them get 4, 5, 6 yards on first down on the ground. And so if you're the Bills, you really have to be aware of that. You really have to tighten up on your first down run D. Maybe you see schematically they try to sell out more on first down against the run. Now the Pats may have a counter for that. They may come out and just start throwing the ball over the yard. Probably not, but they could. But if you're the Bills, first down defense to me is absolutely crucial if you feel like you're going to get off the field. Because look what happened in the last game. We know the Bills were great on third down. The Pats were only 1 of 10, but they were 5 for 6 on fourth down because they had all these 4th and 1s and 4th and 2s that they went for it. And that was because they played and that was because they had some minor success on first down and kept themselves somewhat ahead of the chain. So to me, that run defense, the critical down for them is first down.
So the inactives are out for the Buffalo Bills. Let me run through the Buffalo Bills game day roster. So neither practice squad call-up is playing. Both Joe Giles-Harris and Eli Ankou are inactive for the game. Marquez Stevenson is inactive for the game. My intuition is telling me we're going to see Micah Hyde, but we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. Matt Breida is inactive for the game. Bobby Fart, Tommy Sweeney, and F.A. Obata. F.A. Obata struggled a little bit in that last Patriots game with some of the counters and things. Yeah. So Boogie Basham has earned himself a roster spot, an active game day roster spot over F.A. Obata. Let's run through position by position real quick. The 2 quarterbacks are obvious. The offensive line is obvious. You're going to see some more Tommy Doyle in this game playing as a tight end. The running back room, it's going to be Devin and it's going to be Zach Moss with Reggie Gilliam. I think Reggie Gilliam could be a player that might make a play or two this game, whether it's blocking or whether it's catching a ball out of the backfield. I think Reggie Gilliam, 1 tight end again, Dawson Knox. The 6 receivers, Emmanuel Sanders is active to go along with Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis, Stephon Diggs, Jake Kumerow, and Isaiah McKenzie. The typical 6 linebackers. The defensive line, it's pretty much the same 9 guys. Vernon Butler, who had his best game, maybe as a Bill last week against the New York Jets. Sad but true. And Boogie Basham, who had one sack that last game, and he has now seemingly, at least in the coaching staff's eyes, elevated himself over F.A. Obata. 9 DBs in case maybe the Patriots do decide to pull a Belichick and spread the Buffalo Bills out. They got 9 DBs to try to handle that. There is obviously no puncher call-up, so we are stuck with Matt Hawk. Anything about the inactive list stick out to you other than Obata seems like the big one?
Obata seems like the big one. I will say, like last night, I thought that there was I just throwing up the inactives there on the ticker down there on the bottom in case you missed that, so you can check it out if you're watching. I thought there might have been a chance that Breida could have been active for this game. It was an outside chance, but given the health of the team, given Sanders being healthy, given they're not down really any of their wide receivers, you had to figure that he was going to probably be the odd man out. And on top of the fact that Singletary's really taking control of that backfield, it doesn't completely surprise me. I wouldn't have been surprised though to see Breida active. Obata's the big one. That means Vernon Butler's active, which I wasn't sure if he would be, but I guess
that was the big one.
Yeah, I guess
that's another big one. Ankou, yeah.
I mean, I thought Ankou had a chance to be active over Butler, right? So
yeah, that's why that's the other big one. I think is
Stevenson
being Sorry, I keep talking over you. Can
Stevenson being inactive is not it is not that big of a surprise, right? Because his only role on this team is to return kicks and punts, and the Bills clearly said we're not going to trust you in this playoff game to do that. From a punt return standpoint, we'll see if it's Hyde back there or McKenzie, and obviously on kick returns, it looks like it's going to be McKenzie. So Honestly, Obata, like you said, is probably the biggest surprise, but I like that Boogie Bashing's active for this game, man. It means that all those investments they've made over the last year, 2 years, and that on edge in the draft are active tonight. So
looking at the Patriots inactive list, Isaiah Wynn obviously was reported out earlier in the week. Devin Asiasi, the tight end, JJ Taylor, the running back, Jarrett Stidham. Apparently the picture of him on a throne did him no justice. He is the third quarterback in New England. Carl Davis, the nose tackle, Chase Winovich, the defensive end, who's more of a pass rusher, might give you a clue as to how the Buffalo Bills, how they think that maybe they think the Buffalo Bills are going to run the ball a lot today. And then Christian Wilkerson is inactive, their practice squad call-up, who had a pretty big game when he was actually active over N'Keal Harry, but N'Keal Harry does get the nod for the Patriots today.
So obviously Barmore active
Barmore is active is the big one, and Jalen Mills wasn't on the inactive list because he's on the COVID list. They are down to. It's going to be interesting to see what they do at number 2 corner, right? Do they play Miles Bryant on the outside, make Kyle Duggar their permanent nickel? Do they go with Joejuan Williams, who's like 6'4", kind of a little stiff? Do they go with practice squad call-up Devontae Busby, who's got a lot of NFL experience, got about 5 seasons accumulated off and on a rosters? Do they go with D'Angelo?
Yes, Chevy YT Mills is out.
Yeah, Jalen Mills is out. And D'Angelo Ross. So CB2 will be a super interesting thing to look out for. But the other thing to look out for is Isaiah Wynn is out. What effect does this have on the Patriots? It's either going to be Justin Herron at left tackle and the rest of the offensive line stays the same, or it's going to be Trent Brown switching from right tackle to left tackle, and Michael Onwenu, who actually started for them last year, moving over to right tackle. I think that if it's a close football game, Isaiah Wynn being out is not a big deal because the Patriots are going to run the ball no matter what their offensive line looks like, or even in the absence of Isaiah Wynn. But if the Buffalo Bills get out to a lead and Mac Jones has to throw, I think that is when Isaiah Wynn being out today, and most likely Justin Herron taking over at left tackle, going up against Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes. You saw last week when Connor McDermott was playing left tackle, Ed Oliver moved out to the edge on a couple of plays. That's something the Buffalo Bills can take advantage of, but that's the key to this game, jumping out to a early, significant 2-score lead.
Jumping out to an early lead, and like I mentioned before, having success on first down, because you want to take advantage of that matchup now with Isaiah Wynn out. Like, you want to have maybe an option to have Ed Oliver fly out to the outside. You have that full rotation tonight of your edge guys with Epinesa in there, Hughes, Addison, even Oliver moving out there. So this is, and Rousseau, obviously. So you have your full complement of ends outside of Obata, and you have to take advantage of that matchup. The Patriots' strength are the 2 guards inside. They're both in the top 5 and PFF rated guards. And clearly the Patriots are going to want to keep this game as close as they can so that they can continue to game flow into that run game. The Bills really need to game flow them out of that run game as early as possible. Like you said, 2-possession game. The quicker the Bills make this a 2-possession game, even if it's 10 points, even if it's 9 points, the better it is for them, and the more chance they're going to have to be able to take advantage of that matchup with Isaiah Wynn out of the game tonight.
Your boy Lars comes in and says, "Nice new house, Judge." Thank you. I appreciate that. So it was crazy today. Part of what took like most of the stress away from me today was the fact that I've been moving from one house to another. I made sure that I still had internet in here. This is the old house in the background here. My house looks like fucking Dexter right now. I got like plastic wrapping over the mattresses. I could, murder somebody. It looks like a scene from Dexter, but
American Psycho over here.
Definitely takes the stress away, not having to think about the Bills all day, because I was busy doing manual labor, moving things back and forth. But thank you, boy. I appreciate that. We're going to be bringing on some guests about 5 minutes. We got the Process on Tap podcast guys, Uber Hansen, Jeremy Back of the Herd on Twitter. They'll be joining us for about 20 minutes to talk Bills, Patriots. But before we bring them on, one last talking point here. Mentioned it briefly. Jalen Mills is not playing. The options for the Patriots at CB2, Miles Bryant, who was abused when he was their slot corner against Isaiah McKenzie in that man-to-man coverage. They got Joejuan Williams, who's a bigger guy at 6'4", a little bit stiffer. Devontae Busby, D'Angelo Ross. Our guy, Anthony Prohaska, over at Disguise Coverage, he predicted earlier in this week, like, I wonder if they're going to bracket Diggs with like a safety in a corner and move JC Jackson over to cover the other receiver in Emmanuel Sanders or Cole Beasley. Now that's interesting. That's an interesting sentiment to do that. I don't know what it says about your all-pro corner that you don't trust him against wide receiver who didn't get a single all-pro vote. That seems weird to me that JC Jackson's an all-pro, but they don't trust him going up against one-on-one against Stephon Diggs, who has his number. But how do the Patriots approach this? It seems to me like this is a game where Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley, their veteran leadership, even though it might have been invisible a little bit during the regular season, their production's got to step up now that we're in the postseason, now that we're in the real thing.
It is. And I actually don't think it's that wild of an idea, because the Patriots are essentially going into this game saying, what is our best chance to slow down Diggs? It's to bracket him. Are we going to really waste our resources, if you will, using JC Jackson plus a safety to do that, then leaving Gabriel Davis, Sanders, whoever, on an island with whoever they decide to put over there, Miles Bryant or whoever, right? And so I don't think it's that wild of an idea to think that they would just have JC Jackson on whoever is opposite of Diggs, and then they try to bracket Diggs. Now, look, the Bills have to be expecting that, right? The Bills have to know that that's a possibility.
According to Diana Rossini, which I have no idea why they would tell a reporter this, or in the fact that they're trying to maybe play some mind games with the Patriots, they told Diana Rossini, a Bills source leaked to Rossini, that that's what they expect the Patriots game plan to be. Maybe they're trying to get Bill Belichick to pivot to go to more to that zone. Who knows what's going on here?
Well, and it's a very odd thing to disclose, right? So it does. I don't believe
a word of it.
Yeah, it does kind of smell of mind games to me, right?
It makes me think that the Bills think they're going to go like too deep shell, and just drop everyone back in zone. Because there's no way a single Bills personnel was like, "Hey, Diana, want me to leak you what we think the Patriots are doing?" There's no fucking way.
In either case, right? And regardless of what happens, Diggs has got to be one of the three most important guys, like I said, but that does not absolve guys like Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders and Gabriel Davis and even Dawson Knox from feeling like there's not expectations on their shoulders as well, right? This is still going to take a team effort on offense. The Bills are likely still going to be more pass heavy than run heavy, even though they have been running the ball well lately. These guys have to step up. Emmanuel Sanders in that last Patriots game didn't have a great game. Had the drop in the end zone, had a couple other drops. Like, it was not his best game. And like, honestly, other than that early stretch of the season where he was really flashing and scoring those touchdowns, like, he hasn't made a huge impact. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I'm just saying he hasn't made a huge impact. Gabriel Davis has made the bigger impact down the stretch, and Cole Beasley has had the quietest 82-yard reception season I think I've ever heard of. So,
dude, it's crazy.
It's wild.
Absolutely crazy.
Same amount of catches as last year, just a lot less yards. I think about 200 or 300 less yards.
One more game, but he was injured. Did he ever miss a game with an injury?
That's a good question. I don't remember.
I think he was active, but didn't play for a solid 3 games.
Yeah. But Gabriel Davis coming off kind of a rough game, right? Like, targeted a ton, only had the 2 or 3 catches. I think it was 3. Not all his fault, obviously, but he's got to be ready for this playoff moment too. This is a chance where he can make his mark and really kind of take the mantle from a Sanders, right? As far as the vet passing the torch. So those guys those secondary receivers we have really need to play a big role tonight. If the Patriots do decide to bracket Diggs with the plan that we mentioned.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I made a pass interference that I didn't think was a pass interference over here in this Raiders
be ready
Bengals
for
game.
That tonight. Be ready for that tonight. It's
Bengals. The officials. We haven't even gotten to the officials.
I know.
We get ugly.
I know.
Bengals are up 23-13 on the Raiders. They got into a roll early, but now they're just sort of sitting on this sort of 10-point lead. Very interesting game. I have the over at 46, so I need at least 10 more points from some of these. 46.5, so I need at least 13 more points somewhere in here from these teams. So I need these guys to get rolling here, no matter who wins. Kudos to the Raiders, though. I thought they blew their load last week against the Chargers. They're hanging in there against the Bengals.
Raiders tied with, I put this on Twitter, Raiders tied with the Bills to end the regular season with the longest winning streak in the NFL with 4 games in a row. So they were coming in fairly hot. to the playoffs.
All right, so we got 2 guests in the waiting room. Give us a thumbs up if you are ready, gentlemen. Back of the Herd is rocking a beautiful beard that we're going to talk about in a second here. We got our boys coming on. We got Back of the Herd, Jeremy, and we got Uber Hansen for Hansel from the Process on Tap podcast. How you doing today, gentlemen?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Oh, of course. It's playoff time. We got to have you guys on. It's been a while since we've had you on. So always appreciate what you guys, bring as guests to the show. And you started the playoff beard a little early there, didn't you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about like trimming it or shaving it the last couple weeks. And then like recently I was thinking about doing it again. And this like random superstition hit me. I was like, what if I shave it and then we lose?
Yeah.
Just
Anthony Proraska would appreciate that you did not. He's like the most superstitious guy ever.
Yeah, so it definitely kind of hit me. So I was like, I can't change anything. I can't do anything crazy until, we're done. So I'm going to keep it going.
I had to dig this shirt out of a garbage bag because I had it packed up to move. I thought I had set it aside properly. I didn't. It ended up in like a garbage bag, and I had to go dig it out to make sure I had this shirt available. This shirt always seems to do well when I wear this shirt. Why I don't wear it every Sunday, I have no idea. But they always seem to do well when I wear this shirt. So I had to make sure I went out and got this shirt. So, gentlemen, first thing that we sort of have on tap here is we wanted you guys to sort of any topic of your choosing, because you guys are a creative bunch over there at the Process on Tap podcast. If you haven't checked them out, head on over to any of your major podcasting platforms, type in the Process on Tap, and you will find these gentlemen's podcast. What is sort of like a topic or a statistic or something that you guys wanted to talk about here on this pregame show?
Yeah, kind of not delegated, but asked Hansel if he would come up with one. And he did, so I'll let him bring it up.
Yeah, I'll say it's not the most creative, but I think it's the one that is kind of driving me the craziest. Who's going to handle punt returns? And I think we got a little bit of kind of information on that here with the inactives, with Marquez Stevenson being out. That kind of takes him out of the equation, which let me just say I'm ecstatic that he's not returning punts. He terrifies me. I looked it up. He has 2 fumbles on 15 punt returns. That's awful. That's really bad.
3 career punt returns in college, like super great.
Yeah. Oh, God. And he just doesn't have like the waggle. That's what I try to call it, waggle. Like he just straight line and doesn't move at all. I don't understand. He's like Zoolander. He can't turn.
He gets blown up too. Like he does not avoid the hit
by his own guys.
Yeah. So essentially at this point, I think the argument is between McKenzie and Hyde. My concern all season long has been punt return. Actually, when we cut Andre Roberts or didn't re-sign Andre Roberts, I said at the very start of the season, that I bet you at some point Hyde's going to be returning punts, and look where we are now. I want Hyde returning punts. I don't want to lose a game because McKenzie, muffs a punt. That's the last thing I want. I want Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs on the field, and the best way to do that is put Hyde back there fair catching every single kick.
Yeah, I mentioned it the last show we did, that I want McKenzie for the playoffs, and then over the offseason, it's something I would like to see the Buffalo Bills invest some capital in, and probably not even draft capital, because I don't want somebody who's green to the NFL. Braxton Berrios, if he hits the free agent market, to me, I got that dude like triple highlighted. You probably can't even see his name on my sheet because I've highlighted it so many times. I have like smudged all the ink. Braxton Berrios would be like my number 1 free agent target with a bullet. I really do think that this is something where the Buffalo Bills have to go out this offseason, figure it out. But again, it is like a league-wide problem. I mean, Hunter Renfrow just muffed one over here in this game. He ended up getting it back. A lot of fumbles and punt returns this year. So it's nice to have a guy like Micah Hyde in your back pocket. I don't know, in my 3 years here, or Micah Hyde's 4 years here, I've never seen him muff a punt when he's had the opportunity to do so. And if the defense takes over this football game, and this is a game where the Buffalo Bills figure out how to stop the run, and it's a 1-score game, and this defense is just dominating the Patriots and not letting Mac Jones do anything, one turnover could just turn the game on its head. So you might just want Micah Hyde back there and his sort of reliability there as a return man. We got your boy Lettuce coming in saying at the billion, 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 at the billion.
Is that just me hearing that?
Did we
No,
lose
I
Judge?
think we had a little record scratch there for sure.
Yeah, I thought that maybe that was just me, but I guess that was Steve.
I thought it was
Anyway,
beatboxing.
I'll read the super chat from you, boy. Lettuce. It says, if the Bills win, I become the biggest Steelers fan. Yeah, and I talked about this actually going into the playoffs, that the Bills getting that 3 seed was kind of like not talked about a ton, but like honestly could give them an extra home game depending on how things shake out, right? If the Steelers win, obviously then the Bills would end up playing the winner of this Raiders Bengals game at home, right? And so getting that 3 seed, winning in the last week of the season, keeping the Bengals in that 4 seed. Obviously the Browns helped us out by winning against the Bengals in the last week of the season. Joe Burrow looks legit. If some reason the Steelers do find a miracle and beat the Chiefs, the Bills will then get to play the Bengals, it looks like, at home, which is a big deal. So yes, we will all, I think we're all going to root for the Steelers regardless, because we want to see the Chiefs knocked out. But yeah, really a tough draw for the Bills, honestly, because assuming the Chiefs do take care of business and we win, we're seeing the Chiefs in round 2. So what did you guys think, while we wait for Steve to come back? What did you guys think of sort of like how the bracket shook out? Were you happy seeing the Pats? Would you prefer to see the Chargers? And the fact that the Colts got bounced, although they kind of hadn't looked great, like people were scared of them. Like, how did you feel about how it shook out for the Bills, the way the bracket kind of played out in the AFC? Jeremy, I'll start with you.
The Patriots, it's a very like mixed bag, I guess, and it's because, I mean, obviously we're kind of split for wins right now. They have one, we have one. We have the more convincing one. I think we're the better team. So of course I go into this game thinking like, yeah, we can absolutely win this game. Like I said, I think we have the more convincing win. But it's Belichick, it's the Patriots, it's the playoffs. So any team, I feel like, that you're going to go up against, you got to take them seriously, except for maybe the Steelers. But yeah, so that's my thing. It's just being nervous about Belichick and the Patriots in the playoffs. But I absolutely think that we can win it for sure, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pick your poison thing, right? You either get Justin Herbert and that really good Chargers offense with Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Jared Cook, but you get, Brandon Staley, who has had his moments this year, or you get the Patriots, who have had all the historical success. They've got Bill Belichick, but then they've got Mac Jones at quarterback. So, Uber, what did you feel about how this thing played out for the bracket?
Yeah, I mean, I've been having a panic attack all day, I feel like. I've never had one before, so this is a little rough dealing with the Patriots game tonight. But at the same time, from a pure football perspective, I trust the Bills against the Patriots more than against the Chargers, just because I think there's more paths to victory against the Patriots than the Chargers. Look, if the Chargers came in, Justin Herbert could literally go off, and it might just be a shootout between him and Allen, and it comes down to who has the ball last. Austin Eckler could have a ridiculous game, or like Derwin James could have 2 pick sixes, something like that, Where against the Patriots, it's pretty clear. Like, their defense has to contain Josh Allen, and they have to run the ball well. If they cannot do both of those things, it's just going to be ridiculously difficult for them to win this football game. So I think we match up against them well, but just the mental gymnastics and mental struggle I've had today dealing with the fact that we're playing the Patriots tonight, and there's a possibility, I don't believe it will occur, there's a possibility that our season's over at their hands. It's driving me absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's the risk reward element of this, right? Super satisfying to knock them out, super soul crushing if we were to lose to them. Brendan P says, give me the Pats, let's show him who runs the beast. And I like that. Be confident going in. Is Austin Eckler, just side note, he's like probably one of the most underappreciated players in the NFL, right?
Oh, for sure.
Anyway, so Steve's back. We were just talking about the bracket of the AFC and talking about how off your boy Lettuce's comment around the Bengals, and if the Chiefs somehow slip up against the Steelers, we'll get that home game if we win.
Yeah. We got you. The Lettuce comes back in. He says, we will tell whether Mac Jones sits when he pees after today's game. We'll be able to tell. But speaking of quarterback play, I talked about this game earlier on the show being more about the defense, but Josh Allen can still dictate the way this game goes if he has a game like say he had against the Atlanta Falcons, where he, turns the football over. So what Josh Allen do we see today against the New England Patriots? Do we see Sugar Rush Josh? Do we see Josh Allen who tries to force the ball down the field and sort of ignore some of the things that he has underneath? Or do we see what Mina Kimes explained a couple of weeks ago after that Patriots game, that perfect Josh Allen where he blends the shots that he takes down the field with the runs that he takes, along with sort of just taking the check down, taking the underneath stuff? Do we see that perfectly blended ultra Josh Allen today, or do we see some lesser form of Josh Allen? What do you think? What do you think, Uber? What Josh Allen do we see today?
Yeah. So I've actually been thinking on this for a while. And again, the path to the Patriots win this game is Josh Allen either playing poorly or the Patriots just overwhelming him. I don't expect them to overwhelm Josh, and I don't expect them to play poorly either. Like in these big moments in Josh's career, at least over the past couple of years, he's kind of shined. If you look at this year alone, right, he's played the big games were Kansas City, they were Tennessee, they were New Orleans on Thanksgiving, and then the New England Monday night game, let's say. Out of all of those games, Josh played extremely well in three of them, and he played very well, I believe, in that New England game. It just so happened that a winter hurricane ran through Buffalo. So when the stars kind of shine brightest, as corny as this sounds, is in these high leverage situations, I think Josh comes out. I think he's pissed off just because, he still remembers people saying, oh, the Patriots are the team in the East. They're the team to beat. The Patriots can roll the Bills, like 20 years of nonsense. I just can't see Josh having a bad game. And at a minimum, if he struggles passing the ball, he'll just take off and lower his shoulder and start running through people. Mm-hmm. And he's so capable of that. It's so difficult for him to have a poor game today. It's possible, but I just think we're going to see like the special Josh Allen, the one that's unique and different than everybody else.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's the last Patriots game. After what happened on Monday night, he was seen running past the Patriots locker room, yelling like, "Who the did you think I was? Who the f do you think I was?" He seems motivated for these games, and I mentioned, as cheesy as it sounds, what he shared on Instagram yesterday, that like sort of Godfather Bills highlight hype video mix up, I think shows you just the zone that Josh Allen is in right now. He's probably got some Frank Sinatra on his phone right now and his earbuds, listening to that to calm himself down and bring him down before this game starts. Jeremy, what Josh Allen do you think we see today?
When we think back to the Falcons game, obviously the scary 3 interception one, obviously he fixed that. I think like the following game, he's pretty good at not making those big mistakes like back to back. So I don't think we see that Josh Allen. I think he's kind of thinking what we think. Yeah, I think he still thinks like how the fans are thinking, like this is a big game. He can't afford to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he is a playmaker, so you don't want him to neuter himself or anything like that. But we got to be honest, like I feel like the passing game these last 2 games have not looked great. So I kind of just want to see him like get comfortable, like get into a groove, like maybe not do anything too crazy. And then like once that happens, then let playmaker Josh come out. But again, it's Josh Allen. He's going to do what he thinks is right, I guess,
Mm-hmm. Dave, how about you? What Josh Allen do you think we see today?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a culmination of this Bills offense coming together right now with the running game finally hitting its stride. Devin Singletary averaging 81 yards a game on the ground over the last 4. Josh Allen having 3 of his last 5 games with double-digit rushing attempts. He's only had 4 games total this season with double-digit rushing attempts, 3 in the last 5. And this is the first season where he's had 4 games of double-digit rushing attempts. So what I like about how the Bills offense is trending right now is that they can obviously have the passing offense that we know and love, hopefully does its thing. They have now what looks like the ability to have some confidence in the running game thanks to Devin Singletary and the consistency now that we're getting out of the offensive line, that we've seen the same lineup left to right from the offensive line the last few weeks with Rick Bates there at left guard stabilizing the left side, and obviously Josh Allen himself running the ball. So I think that there is a pretty high floor, I will say, for what the Bills can do on offense, given how these things are trending right now. So will it be easy to score points tonight? I don't necessarily think it'll be easy, but I think that, like we saw in the beginning and middle stage of the season, where they relied so much on the passing game, maybe not so much on running or even the traditional running game, they shouldn't have that issue tonight, the Bills. They should be able to kind of be fairly balanced if they need to be, or go with what's working if they need to. So that's what I like over the last 4 games. All it hasn't been the best competition. They really have kind of found something, I think, on offense.
All right, let's take a look at the other side of the football. The Buffalo Bills defense going up against former child model McCorkle Jones of the New England Patriots. Does the Buffalo Bills success? So you saw in that wind game in Buffalo, Bill Belichick had so little faith in Mac Jones that he only had him throw the ball 3 times in the game. He lucked out. The Buffalo Bills offense could not convert in the red zone. He never actually had to trust a guy he doesn't trust in those conditions. And then you saw in the second game in Foxborough, Mac Jones just get completely owned by the Buffalo Bills defense. He threw 2 picks in that game. Does the Buffalo Bills' success against McCorkle Jones continue, or does Mac Jones maybe have his best game he's ever had against the Buffalo Bills heading into his 3rd career game? What do you think, Jeremy? And then we'll head over to you, Uber.
I feel like if the defense maybe doesn't have a lot of success, that's just because maybe of lack of opportunities. I think I won't be surprised if they just run. They're very run heavy tonight, and maybe Mac Jones throws the ball like maybe 5 times this game. I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's very imbalanced. And again, I don't think it's going to be like the first game where he just throws it 3 times. I think he'll throw it more. But if they lean way more heavily into the run game, I wouldn't be surprised. So if he's not throwing a lot of picks or getting sacked, I think it's, like I said, because of lack of opportunities.
How about you, Uber? What do you think?
Yeah, let me just start by saying I irrationally hate McCorkle. I have no reason to hate him as much as I do, other than the fact that he's the Patriots quarterback. But I really, really don't like him. Saying that, though, you brought up a good point. Will he have the best game he's ever had against the Bills? I'll say yes, he will. But the bar's very low on that, right? Like, he was horrendous in the most recent game, and then he threw 3 passes in the previous one. So yeah, he'll have the best game of his career. That doesn't mean he won't throw 4 interceptions. I think the thing that I'm looking for this game, and something I noticed in rewatching the last game, is the Bills blitzed Tremaine Edmonds more against the Patriots than they had against any team all season. And they blitz him right up the middle because he's so long. What McCorkle's looking for is that quick throw, that slant in, that quick bubble screen, whatever quick route that they've kind of set up. When Tremaine Edmonds is running down that middle with his long ass arms, like, it just kind of messes up McCorkle's reads. So I really want to see Tremaine kind of running up the middle every time, or at a minimum, send Milano, send Poyer, send Hyde off the edge every once in a while, just to keep him kind of second guessing. I think if the Bills can get to him early and actually lay some big hits on him in this cold weather, I just think it's going to rattle him too quick. And so that's why I think, look, he might have the best game of his career against the Bills, but that doesn't scare me at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely nuts. Like, I was driving home from my new house, back here to do the show, and they had one of the ESPN betting experts on, and she was like, let me give you guys the statistic of the day, Josh Allen's stats in cold weather games. And I'm like, I want to just, like, these so-called professionals who think they have this so-called gotcha tweet or that gotcha comment every time that they talk about the Buffalo Bills. Sure, it's fine and dandy to talk about Josh Allen's weather in cold games, but you can't just leave McCorkle out of the conversation. And the fact that McCorkle has hardly ever played in this weather, and the fact that McCorkle does not have the skill set that Josh Allen has to be able to adapt and acclimate to this weather. Now, the Buffalo Bills could throw this game for a loop if they can't shut down the run. And if McCorkle never has to throw, then every national media person would be like, well, I told you Josh Allen couldn't handle the cold weather. But if McCorkle has to throw the football, then they look like a bunch of fools next week, and I will sure as hell be subtweeting the shit out of them, and I'll be in every single one of their fucking mentions, even though they'll ignore me because I'm a worthless piece of shit in their eyes, and I am just a minute little speck on the national stage. But it's absolutely embarrassing, the fact that they are not willing to hold Mac Jones to the same standard that they're holding Josh Allen in terms of that conversation about cold weather games. It's just, it just blows my mind. We got a super chat here from Dylan S, and I want your guys' prediction from the game here. But Dylan comes in and he says, I wish I could watch the Bills with the love and hometown pride I do the Sabres. The Sabres are playing right now. I forgot they were playing. Sorry, Dylan. Want the best, but the outcome of the game doesn't crush my soul. Kudos to you, Dylan.
That's impressive.
But I'll tell you what, if you feel for the Sabres the way I feel for the Bills, you're probably dead inside. So I am sorry, Dylan, that's the way you feel about this. But hey, it's looking promising. Within the next 3 to 5 years, I think the Sabres will be back, back to playing good hockey. But I don't know. Jeremy, let's start with you. What's your prediction for this game here?
My prediction is a Bills win. I never predict a score because I think that's pointless. And I'm going to predict a Bills win, even if Matt Judon gets a sack in the game. And I'm kind of joking there because there's like that tweet going around about the Patriots record when Matt Judon gets a sack. So that was stupid. So
Jason M comes in and says the national media has completely avoided actual talk about football in this game and just talked about the cold, and then was like, well, cold favors the Pats. What do you mean? ESPN reporter Diana Rossini today, hard-hitting news. She put a glass of water outside, and it took 12 minutes to freeze. I don't know what you're talking about, Jason. And Silas comes in the super chat saying, sitting in a military base for class with no cable TV, no Wi-Fi for my laptop, and only able to see the game on my phone. God and the Army, heart, Buffalo. Hey, respect. Whatever way you need to watch this game, Silas, thank you for watching this game. Thank you for that super chat. We appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, they're not hooking you up with some playoff football on the TV. We gotta have a talk. You gotta have a talk with with the military about how they're treating our troops here, not giving them access to playoff football. He should not be watching the game on his phone. Uber, what is your prediction for this game here?
Yeah, so I do score predictions with the full understanding that there's no way I'm going to come close to the score. But regardless, I'm going to go Bills 24, Pats 17. I think the game's close. I don't think the Bills blow them out just because I don't think Belichick is going to let them blow them out. He's going to do things that make it difficult for Josh Allen. The Bills defense is up to the kind of the challenge this week. I think that there's going to be a big run. Like Damian Harris will break one. I fully predict that. I fully predict Josh throws an interception. And I still think the Bills win this game just because the Bills are significantly the better team and they have the better stars. Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, and Jordan Poyer are the 3 best players on the football field. And when you have the 3 best players on the football field, you win the game.
We got Dylan coming in and say, I misinterpreted Dylan's tweet, so I apologize. He said he wished he could watch the Bills like he watches the Sabres, a.k.a. being dead inside. So I feel you there. I become so numb to the Sabres if I could just feel that way about them. But here's the thing. With success comes expectations. With expectations comes emotions and feeling and disappointment. So the Bills are doing well, and that's the reason why we feel the way we do. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you so much, Uber. You guys have been awesome. You can check out their podcast on all major podcasting platforms. I guarantee you 100%. You will get an ab workout listening to their podcast with how many times you laugh. It is the Process on Tap podcast. You can check it out on all major podcasting platforms. You can catch them on Twitter at Back of the Herd, at Uber Hansen. Hansen is also like a celebrity on Reddit. I think you might be like the #1 Bills guy on Reddit. So thank you so much, gentlemen. And we're going to bring on our next guests here. And whoa, just close up on her face here, like in a really uncomfortable way. But here's our next 2 guests onto the stream. We have the Nap Knows Buffalo podcast. We got Kyle Naps. His name is in the podcast, Nap Knows Buffalo. And we are also joined by one of his co-hosts on the Nap Knows Buffalo podcast, Casey Reed. His takes are good, but not good enough to get his name in the title of the podcast. That's the way I like to. That's the way I like.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
He does get his little. He does get his little cartoon head like on the side of the logo.
I waited all year. I saved.
You've been waiting.
You've been on the show.
I
saved that one for the playoffs.
Did that piece of paper that you had that written down on? Did that make its way with the move? Did you make sure to bring that with you?
Oh, my notes are in front of me. Don't you worry. My notes are in front of me.
Kyle, before we get started, Kyle,
Yeah,
we only have 20 minutes, so don't go ranting and rambling again, okay?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No.
Right,
I'll avoid doing that.
Well, I got an issue. I got an issue with Kyle before we get started.
Let's go.
Kyle,
Absolutely.
how do you come on the pregame show and not wear the hat with the giant buffalo logo?
Do you want me to go get that one instead?
Go put that hat on. I can't take you
All
seriously.
right. Hold on.
Hey,
Cut me out of this real quick, and then I'll hop back in.
We're gonna cut him out, and he's gonna hop back in. He needs to go get the big hat that we wear, and we're gonna switch the background so it's not too close up on our faces here. But let's get things started with betting. You're a degenerate gambler, Casey. You're a big betting guy.
I dabble. Yeah,
You dabble.
dabble.
So we thought we'd ask you guys to start us off here. We've been talking so much about Bills, Patriots, matchups, weather. So I wanted to go to you guys, Kyle and you, Casey, and ask you what same game parlay you are playing for the Buffalo Bills today. So what parlay are you going with, Casey, in this game, in this game here?
First off, I never bet the Bills spread when I'm gambling because I'm terrified. And I hope that Kyle is not betting the Bills because every time he bets for the Bills, they lose. So
don't do it anymore.
Guaranteed win now that Kyle's not betting for him. But my same parlay, because you make me prepare for your shows with Kyle's shows, I don't have to prepare. With yours, you're like, take notes. This is the agenda. So I actually went in here and I've got a little bit of them. I do love same game parlays, but this is where you're going to lose all your money. By the way, if anybody's listening, this is how you're going to lose all your money is doing same game parlays. They make you feel so warm and fuzzy inside, and then you're like, wow, you didn't get 5 yards. I appreciate you. So I've got a Stephon Diggs anytime touchdown score. I've got a Damian Harris anytime touchdown score. And I've got to keep rocking and rolling with my guy Dalton Knox in my prediction of him getting 5 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. I've got him, Dalton Knox, 40-plus yards receiving. And I've got Josh Allen, 40-plus yards rushing. And that is my same game parlay.
All right. How about you, Kyle? What same game parlay are you going with here for Bills Patriots?
I have a very large one. I'm just going to throw it. It's a 7-leg parlay.
The bigger, the better.
The bigger, the better. Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. So I'm starting out. I got Mac Jones to throw an interception. I don't expect him to throw the ball a lot, but he's never played in conditions like this, so I don't expect him to be at his best. Might happen early in the game. He might only throw one, but I expect him to throw probably 1 interception. I got Nick Folk going over 6.5 total points, 2 field goals, and an extra point. That's all it takes for him. And he's extremely consistent. You could pretty much bank on him kicking 2 field goals. So then you're either hoping they get a third, and hopefully you just hope for a third field goal. You got Josh Allen over 1.5 touchdown passes. Josh Allen longest run over 14.5 yards. That keeps you alive no matter what. That could be the last leg of this parlay, and it keeps you alive no matter what because it's always open for him. Devin Singletary over 78.5 rushing and receiving yards combined. So then you're, one big reception, you're in. And I got Gabriel Davis over 29.5 receiving yards. The Patriots are down in their secondary. They're going to focus on Stephon Diggs. You got to think one of the other receivers is going to come up big. And Jalen Mills was that number 2 corner for the Patriots. So I'm expecting Gabriel Davis, who did not have a good game last week, to come out this week and have a really good game against somebody who's not typically playing in that role.
Are you worried at all about the fact that it's the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley. And, me and Dave mentioned it was the quietest 82 catch season ever for Cole Beasley. And Emmanuel Sanders has been sort of hot and cold. He was really hot early in the season, had a good rapport with Josh Allen. Then as the season progressed, he sort of faded away. Are you worried at all that during in this playoff game, despite the fact that the Patriots are short at CB2, that Buffalo Bills default to Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley ahead of a younger player like Gabriel Davis?
So I actually look back to last year for this one because we saw a similar situation where John Brown was that de facto number 2. And then Gabriel Davis came in John Brown's absence, and he played really well. And then John Brown came back at the end of the season, had his big game week 17, and then he wasn't as big of a factor in the playoffs. That was Gabriel Davis's role in the playoffs more. So I'm not worried that it's going to be like, well, we got to make sure we're giving the ball to Emmanuel Sanders all the time. They're going to work him in, and he's going to take away some of Gabriel Davis's snaps. But I'm not worried that it's going to be like, well, we got to go back to what he was doing at the beginning of the season, because they've shown that once they see something that's working, they've shown that at wide receiver, at least, they're not like, well, we have to force ourselves away from this. So I'm comfortable with that, even if Emmanuel Sanders gets worked in there a little bit more than we want.
And I mean, Spin comes in with a great point too. Gabriel Davis's catches are usually for pretty significant gains. He's not the kind of guy who we work the ball to in the short to intermediate. He's a guy we look to on some of those deeper balls. So just one catch from Gabriel Davis could get him over that 29.5 yard total. We got Michael Patton coming in saying Diggs punt return for the playoffs. That would certainly be interesting. The Buffalo Bills, Stephon Diggs back there.
Put a ton of money on that
one.
Put a ton of money on that one.
That is Sean McDermott playing, like, what is it, 4D chess or what they call it?
4D chess. Yeah.
I would say that is probably, and all due respect to Michael, but that is probably about as likely as Casey's preseason prediction of Stevenson getting 5 or 7 return touchdowns this year. It's probably about as likely as that.
5. It can still happen. Are we not still?
He's saving them. He's saving them all for the Super Bowl.
He's saving them. He's
he's got to. The man's got to be active. The man's got to be active.
Super Bowl MVP with 5 punt returns for touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
God bless.
I would love it.
They would just start going for fourth downs. They would quit.
So the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is sort of like the key to the game or the key to the success of the Buffalo Bills offense. If the Buffalo Bills offense wants to roll against these New England Patriots, Casey, what do they got to do?
Wow, I don't like it when you just call me out first. I talked to Kyle about this a couple of days ago, and I think that first drive that they have, I like the double dipping. I want them to double dip, right? I want them to defer, get an extra possession out of it, and then I also want them to have a healthy mix on the first drive, and I think that's very important, right? You got to set the tone early, so a healthy mix of running with Devin Singletary and passing the ball to Stephon Diggs, right? I'm not saying force feed them, but when you did, it looked pretty daggum good. So I think that first drive is important there, and I also like the double dip. So,
how about you, Kyle? What do you think is the most important part for our offense, or the key to our offense having success today?
So I have an A and a B for this because it kind of combines.
Do B first. Do B first.
Okay, so B first would be red zone success. Because we saw in that first meeting when the weather wasn't the best. I know it's very different weather. This is extremely cold, not really windy, different conditions, but still weather plays a factor. The Bills still got into the red zone. They had, 3 or 4 different opportunities in the red zone. They only got 1 touchdown out of it. If they do that again, then it's not going to work. They're not going to win the game if they do that, just flat out. So they have to have red zone success. I think the way they do that is with my A, and that is Isaiah McKenzie. And I don't think that means using Isaiah McKenzie every single snap. I don't think that means you have to force the ball to him, but I think he has to be on the field because first and foremost, we saw what happened when he was on the field last time against the Patriots. They're going to remember that. Just because he's on the field, they're going to be like, okay, there's Isaiah McKenzie. We know what he did to us last game. He was incredible last game. We got to make sure he doesn't do that again. It doesn't matter if they even throw the ball to him. He's going to be in the back of their minds. But then you also factor in that if you run a jet sweep with him, he's been successful with that. If you throw him the ball, if you actually give him a chance to make a play, he's been successful when he's been given opportunities. You don't have to force him the ball all the time, but especially in the red zone, when you need a little bit extra juice to the offense because the field is condensed, using him can open up the passing game as well as the running game.
Isaiah McKenzie can throw it, can't he?
Has he thrown a touchdown?
I think he has.
Did he throw the one to Allen at the San Francisco game? I think he's the one who threw it to Allen.
He might have been, yeah.
I would like to see some motion. Hand it to him. Everybody's running with that jet sweep, and then
that's something that I think that a lot of people have been giving Brian Dable.
Steve, I think you're mixing up his reception touchdown that he had from Allen.
Or do you have a receiving touchdown?
Yeah, that wheel touchdown he had against San Fran.
That might be it.
Yeah.
Either way, I think that people have been giving Brian Dable a hard time over the last couple of weeks. I really think that the Buffalo Bills were game planning to an inferior opponent. They know how good their defense is. There were no bells and whistles to the offensive game plan. It was just, all right, go out, run your routes, beat your man. Josh Allen should have time to throw the ball. He'll get the ball to the receivers. And it was just a situation where, like, the receivers weren't beating their corners, one-on-one, or Josh Allen was missing them, or they weren't connecting on a lot of contested catches. And we still put up almost 30 points on the Falcons, on the Jets. I think you see the bells and whistles. I think you see manufactured things in this game from Brian Daboll. The jet sweeps, a lot of motion, a lot of pre-snap stuff, some trick plays, some reverses, all those different things, those little different tricks that Brian Daboll has sort of in his tool belt that we haven't seen a lot of this year, or complained about not seeing, saw a little bit towards the middle of the season where we were getting into a rut. I think you see that from the Buffalo Bills today. I legitimately think the Buffalo Bills were saving some of that for
Arizona,
the postseason.
He had the passing TD.
Hey,
Arizona,
they played San Francisco. They played San Francisco in Arizona. That's why I was confused. So
no, it's not. You were just wrong.
Okay.
So
you're
just wrong. Don't try to make an excuse.
Listen,
you're just wrong.
I
Steve.
know.
Okay.
I know that
It's
stadium.
right. It's okay. It's okay. We get it. You're from Arizona. All right, moving on. What's the next one?
What do you
Casey
think?
doesn't even want to be here. Jeez.
Yeah, dude, he's just here so he doesn't get fined. I literally said
I haven't done this with Steve in so long. Hey, I'm talking. I haven't done this with Steve in so long. I just feel like I need to give him all the shit. And Dave, you're looking really good. Have you been moisturizing and stuff like that? Getting a lot of fluids?
I'm drinking some fluids right now, getting myself ready for the game. But no, I've been taking care of myself. I've been trying to.
That's good.
The baby
good.
keeps me. I'll say having a baby will actually help your upper body strength. You're picking your baby up all the time.
Like 17, 18 pounds, right?
She's probably 25 now, mine. And
Yeah,
I'm just constantly picking her up, moving her. So it is keeping me fresh, I would say.
It's the only thing keeping me from having pecs is a baby. I think that might be some more.
That's the last step for you.
All right, we're gonna start with
Casey. Casey is doing. Have you ever seen Hot Rod? The movie.
Well, yeah,
you haven't.
Every night before I go to sleep.
Okay, well then, Casey, you'll get this reference. It's at the beginning when they're on the ramp and he steals the guy's hat because he comes out. And that's you right now. This is my show. This is totally my show now.
That was the actor that played Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th. That was that actor who got beat up. So that's just fun fact with Casey. Moving on. This is a Bills podcast show.
So we're gonna go to Kyle since Casey's getting a little off the rails here. We got to reel him in. Kyle, what does success look like for the Bills on defense tonight? What do they got to do?
Sell out for the run. I think it's very clear that the Patriots' strong suit is their running game. Even if they haven't been at their best the last couple weeks, their strength is still their running game. No one in the world will look at the Patriots team and say, oh, their strength is Mac Jones. It's him throwing the ball 50 times. So if the Bills can sell out for the run and then force Mac Jones to make some plays, that's where I think the defense is going to have the most success. They can have success if they don't do that, but to optimize that success, stop the run first. See what Mac Jones can do. See if they even trust Mac Jones that much, because, I don't expect them to only throw the ball 3 times, but it wouldn't shock me if he only throws the ball 10 times in this game, because he's never played in conditions like this. He's never played in weather this cold. So sell out for the run, make that the focal point, and then if you need to make some changes after that because Mac Jones is making some throws, sure.
How about you, Casey? What do you think the Bills got to do on defense to be successful tonight?
You're rattled. This is one of those reasons. This is one of the times that I wish I could have gone first, right? Because it's obvious, right? Sell out for the run, gap integrity, all that good stuff. Blah blah blah. Having good drives on offense, I think, will help your run defense out tremendously, right? Because if you're crisp and concise on offense and you're scoring, whether it's by 3, by the way, if you're kicking field goals tonight, you're not going to win this game. But if you're going down there and you're scoring and you're putting that pressure back on Mac Jones, right, and making him be like, all right, now we have to put up a good drive, and all of a sudden it's you get in a 3rd and long situation, you can stop that. Our defense can do that. So I think crisp and concise on offense will help your run defense.
All right, so gentlemen, a couple more minutes with you here. I want your game predictions for us. Paint a picture. Casey, you seem like you probably have fun with a paintbrush sometimes. So paint a picture for us. What does this game look like tonight for the Bills?
This game looks like my daughter asleep in the room below me and me waking her up because the Bills either have a really good play, or B, a really bad play. But I think this is one of those plays where, Uber was on here before us, and he went on a roll saying, hey, we're probably going to get good Josh Allen. I think we do. I think we do get good Josh Allen, and I think that we will get text messages saying, "Wow, Josh Allen's playing really good," blah blah blah, all that good stuff. But he's also correct in saying that it's going to be a close game. I've got it 24-13, Bills winning, and then I also have Dalton Knox catching 5 passes for 55 yards and a touchdown. It doesn't count if he catches 5 passes for 50 yards. It has to be 55. So that's my prediction.
How about you, Kyle? What do you think?
Can we bring up Dan Van Coenberg's comment real quick?
Please.
Just
Please.
display it. I don't have a comment on it. I just want it up there while I'm talking.
That's I actually have that on a T-shirt. I wear it all the time.
So I do have a stat, because I know there's a lot of reporters that are throwing out a lot of Josh Allen stats that in the end, like, it's kind of meaningless because they're not throwing out another stat that actually goes along with it for Mac Jones. Wins in Buffalo in the playoffs. Sean McDermott 2, Bill Belichick 0. So I think that's a very important stat. Nobody's really talking about how he can't win in Buffalo in the playoffs. He hasn't done it before. So why could he do it now? Like, nobody said that. Nobody's mentioned it. Bill Belichick never won in Buffalo in the playoffs. Just want to throw that one out there.
We're his kryptonite. We are his kryptonite.
He's never done it. So my prediction how the game looks, because I know that was the original question. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a back and forth game. Unless the Bills get off to a hot start where they score a touchdown on both of their first 2 drives, I think it's going to be a close game. If they can score on their first 2 drives, then all of this goes out the window, and I don't think the Patriots can catch up. But I expect it to be a back and forth game. I think it might come down to the last possession or maybe even like one of the last couple drives. But I think the Bills end up scoring a touchdown at the end, get a lead 27-20, and that's how the game ends. I think it's going to end with Josh Allen having 3 touchdowns on the day, 2 of them being passing, 1 rushing. I think the Bills win. I think that it's going to be tough. The cold obviously factors into everything, but I think the Bills are ready to play. I think this means a lot to this Bills organization right now. You can't do everything they've done the last couple of years and then run into the Patriots and not be just like psyched up for this game and ready to go. They need this one. They need this one a lot.
Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen,
Steve, I have a question before we go, and it's actually a serious question, right? So the Bill, it was leaked in New England. I guess not leaked. It was the media reported that Bill Belichick in New England thinks that if they keep this in a close game, then they will win this game. They want it to be a fist fight, is what they said. Don't give me saying what reporter said that, blah blah blah, all that good stuff, right? But that was
just
what
trust
was reported, right?
Okay,
just trust me on it. It was on Twitter.com, so it's obviously true. So just trust me on it. And I sit back and I think about it. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, right? And we've all gone on here and said this is going to be a close game. But analytically, if you look back on it, the Bills' wins have come with 12 plus points, 10 plus points, all double digits. Are you nervous, right? Are you nervous if it is a fist fight that the Bills can't win?
The number one thing, the number one way the Patriots win this game is if it's close and they don't have to use McCorkle. Like, if they don't have to rely on Mac Jones at any point in this game to do anything other than hand the ball off, they obviously have a chance to win this football game. But that being said, I do believe that when a lot of bad things happen in a row, eventually you're due. So I think the Buffalo Bills, who have lost 5 games this year, all by 1-score games, we're due to win a close one. And I think home field advantage, this defense, I don't think the Patriots I don't think the Patriots score more than 14 points in this game. I don't think that they score above 2 touchdowns. I don't think they get past that 14-point mark. I'm not willing to say that they're going to score in single digits. I'm not willing to go that far. But I think the Patriots score somewhere between 9 and 14 points today. I do not think that they put up points. And even in a fist fight, I think the Buffalo Bills have enough ammunition to score 15. Like, I think they have enough ammunition to do that. So I'm confident. That being said, they're probably going to lose because I'm feeling
time you said that was week 1, by the way.
Yeah. So, no, week 1, I was like, fuck the Steelers. They suck. They're a house of cards. Bills are going to roll them. This is a quiet confidence. This is a humble and hungry confidence.
Take that quiet confidence and never say it again. Just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch Kyle on Twitter at Kyle Naps. You can catch Casey on Twitter at R_Casey03, but don't like or retweet any of his stuff because he'll send you like messages at 8 a.m. This tweet is blowing up. My phone is apparently he doesn't know how to turn notifications off on his phone, and he will complain about it to us.
I was just trying
don't
to
interact
just
with
texting
him.
y'all.
Don't interact with him. Don't interact.
He actually likes it better when you just ignore him on Twitter. That's true. If you follow him, but don't interact at all. Yeah,
don't interact with him at all. Gentlemen, are you doing shows through the playoffs? I know you're taking a little hiatus. Are you guys doing shows through the playoffs? If so, where can we find it?
So I know I will be. I don't know if Casey's going to be continuing. This was a potential 1 week thing. It's totally up to him. But Manny and I, we will be doing shows throughout the playoffs. And you can find us at the Nap Nose Buffalo Show podcast, YouTube. It's on the Buffalo Fanatics Podcast Network. But yeah, Nap Nose Buffalo, search it. We will be there.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Have a good one and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Thank God we finally got that Casey guy off. I get the camera all to myself again. But ladies and gentlemen, some great guests, and we still got some time to go here. I think people thought we were done because we just dropped like 20 listeners. They wanted Casey. They were there for the thing, but they were here for Casey. But we still got about I don't know, what do we got here? 15 more minutes until we're gonna let people get that little 15-minute wiggle room to go, get their wings or get their pizza ready, get their beards cracked open, etc. So we're gonna end this right around 8 o'clock. Still a couple of things to talk about. I think we've done a pretty good job so far over the last hour and a half talking about what we think the Buffalo Bills will do on offense, what we think the Buffalo Bills will do on defense. We've talked about the returning ability. We're going to get to what takes us higher in a second, of course, but I want to talk about coaching a little bit. We saw salty Sean McDermott after the Bills Patriots Monday night game, and I think rightfully so. I think Sean McDermott was 100% correct in his comments. Like, don't give Bill Belichick any more credit than he should have. If the Bills executed in the red zone, they win that football game.
Yeah, it
was. I thought the national media, that narrative following that Patriots game, it irked me, as most national media narratives do. But then in the second game, you saw an ultra aggressive Sean McDermott going for it a ton on those fourth downs in those situations, going for touchdowns instead of field goals. Casey mentioned it. You need touchdowns, not field goals, in order to win this football game. Do we see aggressive McDermott today? Or do we see, I'll take field goals, I'll take points McDermott today? What Sean McDermott do we see today?
Honestly, I think it's going to be a fluid situation. I think if you see the Bills defense, let's say the Bills defer. Let's say the Bills win the toss and they defer, and the defense goes out on the field first. They shut down Mac Jones, and the offense, Pat's offense on the first drive, force a quick 3-and-out or a quick punt. And it's kind of got that feel like we had in the Jets game almost, where you felt like the defense was really just like on its game. The Pats offense wasn't doing anything, wasn't having really any success. And you had this like really strong confidence that defense wasn't really going to let up much of anything. If the game's kind of going like that, I could see him being a little more conservative. However, if the Patriots are running the ball with some decent success and they're moving the ball, getting first downs against the Bills, and maybe maybe they're not scoring touchdowns every drive, but maybe they're getting field goal here. Maybe they get a touchdown, that maybe they get 10, 13 points in the first half, the Patriots, then I could see McDermott being a lot more aggressive in situations like that. But for me, how I think about this is I think he needs to be fluid in his approach. I think he needs to, what's the phrase they always say? Let the game come to him. Let the game come to him as a coach on the sideline. Let him feel how the game is flowing, right? Like, let that dictate how aggressive or not aggressive you are. Don't have like a set mindset necessarily going in that you have to do one thing or another, because that can get you into trouble, right? So the adaptability in game, the having a pulse on how the game's flowing, like that to me is going to be really important. And I think that will determine what decisions he needs to make.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier, we dropped like 40 viewers, and I thought it was because of Casey Reed. I think it might be because of how this Oakland-Cincinnati game is going right now. Zay Jones catches it. It's 26-19 Bengals. The Raiders now are 3rd and goal with 25 seconds. So they have 2 chances to try to score a touchdown here from the 9-yard line to win the football game. Let's see what the Raiders do. They made it interesting here late. If they go to overtime, I still have a chance at my parlay. If they don't, my parlay is a wash because I had a T. Higgins anytime touchdown that did not come to fruition here.
Yeah, it looks like it's 4th and goal now.
I got a question here. If this game does go to overtime, right? Does that push our game back? Or do they run 2 games concurrently? How is that not PI? Ooh,
different networks, so I don't know if they would delay the Bills game. But I would imagine, given that they have like really set times for these games, that I don't think the Bills game would be delayed. I don't know the answer. That's just what I would assume.
I kind of want the Bengals to win now. I don't know. I just like the Raiders were a good story. I want the Bengals to win. Mostly because of how wrong I was about Zach Taylor. Good for him. I love Joe Burrow too.
Joe Burrow's the truth.
I do know they're on different channels, but I don't know if the NFL would want to start a game when they know, because they want to do the network a favor, right? They don't want to start a game when they know that everyone else is going to be watching the other game. We got Derek Carr here on 4th and goal, picked off by NC State grad Jermaine Pratt. So kudos to you and your alma mater there. One of our favorites back a couple of years ago in the
love Jermaine Pratt, that like hybrid linebacker safety type.
Yeah, he is. He's playing a Milano type of role. Actually, they have really good 2 linebackers there in Cincinnati with Jermaine Pratt as sort of like a weak side middle linebacker, and then Logan Wilson is like a strong side linebacker. They got a nice little duo there. But yeah, the Raiders just lost that game. It'll be interesting to see whether Rich Bisaccia keeps the head coaching role there in Las Vegas.
I don't think he will.
Yeah, but someone made a good point to me. You'd think they would chase Harbaugh, Las Vegas. They have a decent football team. I think Mike Mayock, from what I've been told, Mike Mayock got to make all the later round picks, and John Gruden got to make all the early round picks, and their later round picks are hits and their early picks were misses. So maybe like Mayock still gets a chance there. Mark Davis is not a guy who's made of money, by the way. That Raiders team is in the hole for that stadium. They owe a ton of money on that stadium that went way over budget, but it should be interesting to see where they go with their head coaching search.
Would they have the money? Screams like Tom Sula to me. Like, I don't know. He just gives me those vibes. Like, I don't know. I mean, he did a great job winning 4 in a row to end the season, get him into the playoffs, because they started out hot, and then they had a really bad stretch in the middle of the season, and then they turned it around. I'll give them credit. Waller was injured for a good portion of the season, so
listen, we're not going to be able to monetize this podcast if we do this, but no one's going to listen to it after the game starts anyway, and we are 15 minutes to kickoff. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to click the button, Dave. Should I click the button? Should I do it?
Hey, you know what?
If we're not here on Monday, Eric, Eric fired me. Who is going to do it this game? Who is going to take us to that place where blind men see? Who is your take me higher player of the game? Remember, we cannot pick Josh Allen.
It's Diggs for me. And the reason for that is his history against the Patriots. The 3 out of the 4 games the Bills have beaten the Patriots since Diggs has been on the team. He's been an absolute monster. And he's been the alpha. He's taken over the offense outside of Josh Allen, and he's been the guy. And the Patriots don't have a guy like that in their receiving core. So Diggs really wants to not just show he's the best receiver on the Bills, but show he's the best receiver on the field for either team, which he is, obviously. Have yourself a game tonight, Stephon Diggs, and go for it. Go for Deuces Part 3. Like we've had Deuces Part 2 last time with the FU. Or shut the fuck up. Go Part 3 tonight. Maybe make it third time the charm and just freaking destroy the Pats tonight. They're down in the secondary. Unless they come up with some creative game plan to bracket him, I want Diggs to have a big game tonight. Got to take us higher.
Yeah. And Jax and 222 coming in with a super chat. I always appreciate it. He says, no comment, just free money. Go Bills. Hey, go Bills is the comment right there. And if Eric gets mad at us for playing that video, he can just have the $20 to make up for not being able to monetize this video. We had to do it. It's the playoffs. Got to do it.
Had to do it.
So thank you, Anjax. We appreciate that. My take me higher player of the game. Listen, Someone said horrible Harry. Brendan P said horrible Harry in the comment section. I really want to go at Oliver because I do think the defensive line is going to dictate. I do want to go to Tremaine Edmonds because, like I said, he is that guy in the middle of this defense. He's going to be the one who he can't bite on those things, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to go with Jordan Poyer. First team All-Pro, Pro Bowl snub. I think this is the game where Jordan Poyer just he becomes a national name, right? Like maybe that was his issue with the Pro Bowl is he's just not a national name. I mean, I see people all the time, people like Jordan Poyer, like, oh, like what? He's been one of, if not the best safeties in the NFL for the last 4 years, him and Micah Hyde. And just because they're both really good at what they do doesn't mean individually they're not both great players either. I think I think Jordan Poyer is just an absolute animal in this game. I think you're going to see him making plays at the line of scrimmage. I think you're going to see him making plays in the secondary. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a part of a turnover of some sort in this football game. I think by tomorrow morning, I really do think tomorrow morning, the talk of the NFL is going to be Jordan Poyer and this Buffalo Bills defense. It's not going to be Josh Allen. It's not going to be McCorkle. It's not going to be Bill Belichick. It's not going to be Sean McDermott. It's going to be Jordan Poyer and this Buffalo Bills defense. That is what people will be talking about tomorrow morning on those pregame shows when they're recapping the football games that went on today. I really do believe that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, leads us to the last bit here, our game predictions.
Back to the future. 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 Back to the future.
All right. So what is your game prediction? Paint a picture for us. How do you think this game is going to go today?
I do think it's going to be a boxing match. I think it's going to be a struggle early. I think each team's going to be feeling each other out. I don't know that the Bills start fast. I'd love for them to start fast, but I could see this being a, fairly close game in the first half, somewhat low scoring, maybe, single digits, or maybe one team has double digit points in the first half. And then the Bills find a rhythm, get like one or two good scoring drives in the second half, hold the Patriots off, and eventually kind of come out with the victory. I think the Bills on offense right now, getting something from Singletary in the running game, having that consistency on the offensive line has really helped. And Josh, taking matters into his own hands when he can, adding that extra dimension to the offense, gives the Bills the edge. Although Patriots have Belichick on their side, the quarterback edge is clearly in the Bills' favor, and they're at home. So I like them to win. I think it's going to be maybe a lower scoring game than the over-under is 44. I've got the Bills winning 24-16. Same prediction I had last night.
All right, so we got Jason Hawkins coming in saying 27-17 Buffalo wins. By Chance comes in, says 21-14 Bills. Jason Humbert says 35-10. And Chris K is about to have himself an evening. He says, speaking of Take Me Higher, it's time to light up, Chance. Everybody, hey, do you. I will be using beverages to take me higher this evening. But whatever it takes, whether it's the Bills play on the field, whether it's some beverages, whether it's something you're smoking, whatever takes you higher this evening, ladies and gentlemen, let's hope the Bills are a part of that. Chris Ash comes in and says 31-17. Lone Wolf says 30-16. Casey Reed had 24-13. You had 24-16. I'm going with Bills 23, Patriots 13. I think, again, I mentioned it when I talked about Jordan Poyer as my take me higher player of the game. I think it's all about the defense today. Everyone's been talking about quarterbacks and Josh Allen week in, week out. Like, what are the offenses going to do in this weather? This game is going to be about the defense. We even saw last year when we wanted to talk about our offense all year last year. What were the playoffs about? The Colts game was about our offense and Josh Allen, but then the next game against the Ravens, that was all about our defense. So to me, it's going to be all about the defense today. I think we hold them. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we hold them into single digits. The Bills play turnover-free ball. They got guys like Micah Hyde back there returning punts. Josh Allen is utilized as a running back. They do what they need to do to work the ball down the field, get into that 20-plus point scoring range without turning the ball over. And I think the Bills exit this game with a 23-13 game that'll keep us stressing all the way till late into the fourth quarter. But that's just what the Bills do. And like Bruce Nolan says, with high expectations comes a lot of disappointment. So the higher the expectations, the more disappointed you will be. And let's hope that we are not disappointed this evening. Let's hope the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen shows up, the defense shows up, Sean McDermott out coaches the evil empire there, and let's go Bills.
Let's go Bills, and let's get that win, everyone. Get yourself ready. 15 minutes till game time. Get whatever you need to get ready. And man, I do not envy Aaron, Greg, and Anthony as far as having to stress over this before the post-game show, I should say, tonight.
Listen,
but don't forget to check that out.
Whether,
win or lose, check it out.
Win or
It'll
lose,
make you feel
and win or lose, we will be here for you. Usual time, Monday at 9 p.m. You will get a look at my new studio that I will have hopefully mostly or semi set up by then. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You guys seriously make this show, every single one of you in the comment section. You just bring the show to a whole nother level because you hold us to a super high standards. You keep us accountable in that comment section. You always bring great insight. So thank you guys to the comment section. Hopefully the Bills are on their A game the way you guys were on your A game in the comment section today. Always appreciate you guys. And until next time, go Bills.
Go Bills.